Now, I said there was two talks here, and there is. There's two talks here. So it comes all the way down to the bottom of the comment. If Trump were as bad as you say, Hillary would have been in jail. Now, I don't know if you remember, but on his first campaign, he had this slogan, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. And all the people would chant with him, lock her up, lock her up. And sometimes they would even get started before him. Now, he's come out and said, I've never said that, but there is like so much video evidence of him encouraging his people to say it and of him actually saying it and saying that he would do it. Now, it's interesting because somebody accused me of that. Somebody said something about that the other day. Well, how come he didn't lock her up? Well, he did try, apparently. He had two of his attorney generals look into the possibility, and both of them came back and said, no, she didn't really have anything here that we can lock her up for. Neither here nor there, though. It's neither here nor there. See, this idea, if he was really as bad as he says, Hillary would have been locked up. But he's not, because he didn't really mean it. He's not that bad a guy. He didn't really mean it. He was just sort of talking out of his ass. He was just sort of, doing his thing. He was just exaggerating. He was just getting the crowd all worked up. That's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. And because you guys keep bringing this up, this is like Trump derangement syndrome. So this is where we're going to talk about Trump derangement syndrome, because apparently we all have Trump derangement syndrome. But here's the reason why. We believe him. When he says something, we believe him. As I was thinking about this today, I thought about something that C.S. Lewis said a long time ago, because he's been dead since the 40s or 50s. But he once talked in his some of his apologetic work. He talked about Jesus as a lunatic, liar, or Lord. And what he offers that Jesus has to be one of these three things. There's no other label that he could possibly wear. He was either a lunatic for saying all the things that he said about himself, or he was a liar for saying all the things that he said about himself, or he was Lord, saying all these things that he said about himself. Now, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into the validity of the whole argument or the things that Lewis said in the argument, but you get the idea. He's either a lunatic, he's a liar, or he's Lord. And we function with Jesus in our lives based on one of those, based on that he is one of those things. And then I applied it. to Trump. So because I hear from people who will say, no, he didn't mean that. Yeah, he said it, but that's not what he meant. You're all deranged thinking that he means something like that. No, he doesn't mean that. So we're going to take lunatic off the table. Like if I was talking to a Trump fan, I would say, is he a lunatic, a liar, or is he telling the truth? Is he Lord? And they would say, well, so, he's not a lunatic. He's obviously sane. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's the most sanest sane person that's ever been sane. He is so sane that even doctors who judge whether or not somebody is sane say just how sane he really is. He is the sanest of the sane. Okay, so he's sane. So he's not a lunatic. He's not insane. He's sane. He's got the stamp. Not insane. All right. So if he says we're going to lock her up, and we're going to drain the swamp, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to send the military to, against our political opponents, and we're going to send the military out against protesters, and we're going to, we're going to deport millions of people on the very first day, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. He said a lot of things about what he's going to do in a very, very short period of time, and he said a lot of things about what he was going to do way back when. Is he a liar? Is he a liar? So these things that we're really nervous that he says he will do, you come and say, no, he doesn't mean it. So then is he a liar? Which is it? Is he a liar or is he telling the truth? Because if he's a liar, then how do you know what parts of his speeches to take as policy? How do you know how to let certain aspects of it go? How do you know which parts of his talks, which parts of his rants are meaningful and what are just nonsense? How do you know? And furthermore, if he's lying, and exaggeration is a type of lie, if he's lying, why would you follow him? Knowing that, well, that thing that you thought was policy could actually have just been a lie. How do you gauge it? Right? How do you determine this? Because many people in the world, not just in your country, in the world, listen to him, and we become very afraid because we think he's telling the truth. Because nobody's given us the Rosetta Stone to determining when he's talking out of his backside and when he means what he says. We don't have anything that we can hold up against his speeches and say, okay, that's the lie. There's no litmus test for us, and this is the truth. When he talks about the people of Springfield, Ohio, no, he's not really telling the truth. He's sort of exaggerating. We had to create this in order to get the media's attention. Okay, so we cast that one. We don't have that. That's not available to anybody. If he was just kidding. We don't know that. So when you get all upset that people are really worried about what Trump says, and we hold on to this stuff because, he said it. This is why. There's no rhyme or reason to this. He's just speaking words for the applause of the people in front of him. And if he's lying, if he's exaggerating, if he's talking out of his backside, how then is the world supposed to follow him? How are we supposed to listen to him? How are we supposed to feel safe with him? How do you justify voting for a person that you can't truly believe? When you can't truly believe the things that he's saying. When he lock her up, he didn't really mean it. Oh. Well, what about the other things? What about the policy stuff? What about the economic stuff? What about the foreign relations stuff? What about the military stuff? What about the peace stuff? What about the social assistance stuff? What about the Medicare stuff? How do you believe any of it? When he said he was going to deliver an infrastructure program in 2 weeks, it never came. When he said he was going to deliver a better healthcare system, that never came. Were these just things that he was saying? He didn't really mean it? Finally, if he is telling the truth, do you not see how completely unchristian some of these policies are? How completely unchristian some of these statements are? How completely undemocratic some of these statements are? We asked this question about Jesus. Is he a lunatic? No, I don't think Jesus was a lunatic. Was he a liar? He definitely wasn't a liar. In the gospel stories that we have, he wasn't a liar. No liar would have died in the way that he died for the sake of his lie. So for me, he's Lord. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said. And when we read it, we're supposed to take it at face value. Love your enemy, love your neighbor. Okay, take it at face value, right? Take care of the people around you. When God comes into the world, God's going to be really upset if you didn't take care of the widows and the orphans, if you didn't take care of the hungry, if you didn't take care of the homeless, if you didn't take care of the people on the margins. Okay, Lord, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take your word on that. Trump is someone who is seeking to be the next president of the United States, which in the world is arguably the most powerful person in the world. All of us are watching. And most of us can't quite wrap our head around the fact that Well, when we ask those questions, is he sane? I don't know. But we'll go with it. Sure, he's sane. Okay. Is he lying? Or is he telling the truth? Because if he's telling the truth, the things that he's saying are pretty horrible. And those things that are really horrible that you say, well, don't worry about it, he doesn't mean it, then it means he's lying. How do you know the difference? Anyway, this is just a rant. Amen.